Alright, hey guys, this is Bezmor again, and I've got another video for you. This is a Barb 1v1, and this Barb's extremely difficult because, first of all, it's full plus 12 rank 9, and then I believe it's the Nirvana helm and Nirvana cape, and then a cube neck, and I think everything, the rank 9 is all plus 12, and I think he's got maybe plus 12 helm and neck, and then maybe like a plus 11 cape or something. Bottom line, it's like crazy refined. Second, it's every single slot in his armor is a Vitestone, so that puts his HP into the ridiculous range. And thirdly, it's a Demon Barb, which means it's actually very offensive. Even in Tiger form, as you saw back there, it was doing some decent damage, and so I have to be very careful. And I kind of suspected he would cancel his Arma channel there, but I couldn't risk it, so I have to expel, because Armageddon is the one attack that can maybe sort of kind of kill me even when I'm in tank mode. So anyways, when it comes to fighting a Demon Barb like this, the problem is actually that their offense is really good, but if they play it right, they can still gain defense that's really good. And so what this Barb was doing was he was always clearing my Soul of Stunning using either his anti-stun skill, which has like a 10-second duration, and it's a pretty short cooldown actually, so he was just abusing it to clear my stunning. And I mean, he'd also used APOF to clear, like, to try and clear it at different times. So bottom line, I was just looking for a strategy to kill him. I mean, there's no really, this is the only Demon Barb who like, I know that PKs on my server. So, I mean, I really don't fight them that often, and I wasn't sure exactly how to go about it. But, I mean, as I went through the fight, I think I figured out a strategy that'll work. But I ended up losing this fight, unfortunately. But you'll see at the end how it goes. Anyways, one thing you have to worry about on the Barbs is you cannot, you can't let them get on you too much. As you can see, if you've been watching, he's abusing Occult Ice. And as you can see, I hit him for 17k, so all those Vice Stones, they don't give him magic defense when I go into full DD mode. The problem is, if I go into Black Voodoo and he gets a Goth crit, I'm screwed, because Goth critting from a strength build Barb, it hurts, and it hurts a lot. I mean, if I get Armada in Black Voodoo, it's a one-shot. There's no redeeming it, unless I'm like physically immune when he does it. So you'll see me vector a lot of times just to stop an incoming attack from happening and, shut him down. It burns my vector cooldown, and it's really unfortunate, but, you kind of have to do it sometimes just to get the upper hand. Another thing is, you'll notice my procs are never working on Glacial Shards, which was rather unfortunate. But if you're coming up against a Barb like this, I mean, we're talking massive amounts of HP, and at the same time a damage index that's really high. My usual tank to you can kill them strategy becomes extremely difficult to execute for the reason that they're hard to kill, and they can still kill me, Like, if it's an assassin, they can kill me, but I can kill them. Whereas, when it comes to a Barb, it's a different story, because killing them is not as easy as it goes. And, thankfully I have my silence, and I mean, if you can get your silence chance really high up there, then you're good. But if you're fighting a Barb like this, my advice is you have to have Fortify and you have to have Expel. The reasons for that being, Fortify, you can block their Occult Ice, and if you can block that, then you can actually really easily avoid their stun, because I think their only stun skill is like a 60% chance, and they have to hit you to do it. So, it's really hard for the Barbs to stun lock without Occult Ice, so if you think they're going to stun lock you with it, you can easily Fortify and then get out of it. But, just be aware of the Barb's ability to stun lock you being low, and your ability to stun them is also very high. This one's, like, insanely good connection, and I was able to cancel his channels so I wouldn't stun him very much. So as the fight progresses, you see I have to become a lot more ninja-like with the Soul of Stunning and try to get it right before I know he's going to attack me, and things like that. And the bottom line is, you'll see me try it later on in the video, but I was just going to try and out-DD the guy and spark, but every time I sparked, he invoked. And when I sparked, I didn't want to have myself spark and then get stunned, because I knew he was going to try and run up and stun me, so I would use a vac powder and then spark. But as soon as I sparked, in the 3 seconds it takes my spark erupt to go off, he could cast Invoke. And that meant the spark was pretty much burned, which should be coming up. But anyways, So, I mean, I'm really just trying to build up chi and kite as much as possible, just running in circles. Like, if it gives my physical defense charms time to cool down, then it's worth it. I mean, I'm eating them like candy in this fight, and if you're below half HP, you have to be really careful, because a Goth crit when you're below half HP, even in White Voodoo, can end the fight. And what really stunk was that I used a crab meat, and the crab meat pushed my HP just over half, so my charm didn't tick, so I had to waste my expel here, because my charm wasn't going to put me back at HP, and being at half HP puts you in the one-shot zone. Like, if you know, you need to keep your HP at 100% all the time. If it's not, you're one-shot. If you're in Black Voodoo, you're like 200% one-shot, you know? It's guaranteed. And so here was my first attempt at Spark, and you see he was going for the stun there, but I couldn't attack him before he invoked, and of course after I Spark, I don't have the chi to immediately vector him and interrupt the channeling of Invoke. And I mean, I was hoping on my second attempt to Spark that if I Spark fast enough and cast Landslide, then I would interrupt his Invoke channel. But there you can see I'm using my stunning, you know, and I was using my stunning as a chance just to build my chi back up, because I was going to try and beat his Invoke cooldown and get enough chi to Spark before he could. Then I realized I didn't have Apoth with me, and so if I go to Black Voodoo, even Sparked, if he comes into DD on me when I'm in Black Voodoo, it's going to be really bad for me. So I went ahead and waited for my Apoth cooldown, which was a fail, because in the end that just meant his Invoke was cooled down as well. So yeah, if you're fighting the Barbs, kite them to get everything you need, you know, cooled down and whatnot. PDEF charms, because the strength build Barbs, they will hit you hard. I mean, you know, Sage tank Barbs, you can just kind of ignore them. I mean, if you saw my last video, the damage is not a problem. And they rely more on their survivability than their offensive capability. The Demon Barb, on the other hand, if they play it right, has a very high damage index, and at the same time can kind of keep you stun locked by using the skill that makes it so I can't run. They have the 60% stun skill, and then they've got the, if they use Occult Ice with it, then, you know, that's a very decent way to stun lock people. And at the same time, you know, he's taking my chi, so it's making it harder for me to get my combo in. But yeah, so solution to killing Demon Barb is you gotta use a good Tide Spirit combo. I mean, that 17k hit I got earlier was just Tide Spirit, Jones Blessing. And I mean, the damage, you have it, but what you need to do is get your Tide Spirit and then have your Earth Vector and your Glacial Shards ready immediately. And here was my second attempt at Spark, and I couldn't get the channel in. Like, I saw he was already invoked. So I went straight back to White Voodoo. You know, if you're going for a kill combo and you see something like Invoke or your proc fails or something, get back in White Voodoo immediately. There's no chancing it. Like, Black Voodoo against a Strength Barb is suicide, you know? Like, Strength Barbs and then like full rank 9 Diamond of Tiger Sins with, like, you know, the crazy amounts of dex and physical attack. You cannot stand being in Black Voodoo unless you are physical immune or you know, Dew of Star or Immune Potion or something like that. So, you know, I'm playing insanely defensively because I know if he gets an Arma in, or if he just gets enough hits in at once, I'm in trouble. So anyways, yeah, I mean, to kill them, you gotta use a Tide Spirit combo, and when you Tide Spirit, you obviously want to stack your Vector after the Soul of Stunning, because you want to open with the Soul of Stunning, Tide Spirit, and then DD on them, and then as your Soul of Stunning is ending, you want to throw down your 100 skill to try and get the Seal proc. If it doesn't proc, it doesn't matter, just make sure your Vector comes down really fast right behind it. And then, you know, usually if you put Diminished Vigor on them as well, then that's going to do enough to kill them. And when they're in human form, that's your best chance to DD, just because their HP pool is a lot lower, and so you can get away with it a little bit more. But you have to be careful of their damage at the same time. If the really nice thing about using a Tide Spirit Earth Vector combo is it only costs you 3 sparks, meaning you have 1 spark left over to go into a Psychic Will if you need to. So, you know, that's another option. And as you can see, I was thinking about using the combo here, but I don't think I ended up doing it because, or no wait, I guess I did. Yeah, but here the thing was, I didn't have enough time, and he solid shielded, and as you can see, I still hit him for 4 and 3.9k or something like that when he was in human form. So really, the solid shield does not do enough defense to actually keep them alive. And here my buffs ran out and he APOThed, so I physically immune just to make sure I could get my buff back in. And of course he went for the stun there, which succeeded, but I got silencing back on, which is what I really care about. And then I got that back on. So yeah, there was an Arma that I just tanked. And as you can see, it did hit 5.8, and 5.8, that was reduced by a physical defense charm, and it didn't goff. It did crit though, so I mean, bottom line, he could one-shot me through White Voodoo, but he has to get an Arma when I'm not PDEF charmed, and it has to be a goff crit pretty much, unless I refine my armor or something. So yeah, you really can't tank a Demon Barb if they've got the full plus 12 everything and, you know, all that Vite. That much Vite on the Barb's armor actually just makes his Arma worse because it gives him a higher HP pool, and you know, Demon Arma has that increased damage or whatever. Another thing you'll notice is his crit rate is always up. That's the there's a Demon Barb skill that gives you an increase of like 35%, 30 or 35, one of the two, and that's basically his normal strategy for fighting me. Is he's going to open with Purge, an attempt to Purge, and then he'll go into crit, and then he'll use the skill to boost his crit rate, and then try to goff crit Arma me, or just straight out DD, one of the two, usually Arma. So anyways, here I actually got my combo in, and what sucks was my Vector didn't proc, which was fail, and then he just kited out of range. Now if my Vector had procced, he would have been in there, and I had just ticked his charm. I might have had a chance, you know, I had Genie as well. But I mean, as you can see, I go straight back to defense mode, ready to keep tanking. And we're getting to the end, and the reason I died is I didn't notice that he managed to purge me. As you can see, I have my APOTH in cooldown, and when I saw myself getting torn apart, I was going to throw down a Pangu or something to tank it, which is right about here, and there's the purge, and so my White Voodoo is now gone, and you can see he goffed there for 6k, and that ended it. So yeah, if you get purged, you have to immediately rebuff yourself. So yeah, that's tips for Demon Barb. Hope you enjoy.